Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. You could have printed this link off of the assignment and gotten these 2 pages, or you can use a periodic table that we used from the lesson before and then just write the table in your notebook. Either way works for me, but you must have a periodic table of elements for this part or this lesson. All right, let's get started. Here's the example of what it would look like. I color coded. You have to color code so you know what's what, but I made a key and I made my metals blue, non-metals pink or red, and the metalloids green. Now, if you choose to use our sheet from the lesson before, make a key somewhere. It doesn't have to be exactly up at the top, but make sure you make a key somewhere that says which one or which metal, non-metal, metalloid group that it belongs to, so we can read this. All right, so I'm going to use what we used from the lesson before. All right, let's get started. So metals are, most of the periodic table is made up of metals. So you can see that they're all on the left side of the periodic table. Some properties of metals are they're very shiny. They're malleable, meaning that they're easy to bend or flatten, like aluminum foil. They're very ductile, meaning they are drawn into thin wires, like your copper wiring. They are very good conductors of heat and electricity, and most of them are solid at room temperature. There's 2 that are not. Their outer level of electrons are empty or not full, which means that they are very reactive. So remember, the less valence electrons, the more reactive it is, meaning it wants to react with another element to get a full shell. And then I've got some examples at the bottom. Metal, you got your iron skillet, copper wiring, some gold. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go to your periodic table of elements and you're going to lightly color in all of the metals. Oops, sorry, went too far. All right, so do not color in hydrogen. Hydrogen is a gas, but we are going to color in the rest of group 1. You're going to color in all of group 2. And then you're going to color in all the transition metals. Those are groups 3 through 12. And then you're going to color your lanthanides and your actinides. So again, remember, most of your periodic table is made of metals. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky because you have to be a little bit more careful about where you do this. So aluminum is a metal. Gallium is a metal. So aluminum down, you've got metals. Oops. Let's see. My pen's doing this again. All right. All right, and then now, see, copper, you're going to go down to 10, and lead, those 2, so do not color in copper. Do not color in nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, or antimony, but you are going to color in bismuth. And then that's it for your metals. So those are all of the metals on your periodic table of elements, and like I said, lightly color this in so you can still read the information, but you can use a highlighter or just very, very lightly color over it. All right, now let's go to nonmetals. Nonmetals are basically the opposite of metals. So nonmetals are very brittle. So that means that they are not malleable. They are not ductile, so they can't be bent or shaped. They break very easily. They are also not shiny, so that means that they're dull, and they are very poor conductors of heat and electricity. Most of them are gases at room temperature, and they are less reactive because their outer level of electrons are full or almost full. So if you notice, most of the nonmetals are on the right-hand side of the periodic table with the exception of hydrogen, but most of them are on the right-hand side. So you've got some examples of carbon, phosphorus, and sulfur. So now let's go and let's color in our nonmetals, starting here with hydrogen. And then now we're going to jump over to the other side. So you have to be very careful again. So groups 17 and 18 are all gases, or excuse me, are all nonmetals. All right. And then you've got all, let's see, oxygen, sulfur. So those 3 in groups 16. And group 15, oops. Yep, there you go. Group 15 is just nitrogen and phosphorus. And then just carbon in group 14. All right, so please be careful. Make sure you watch what you're coloring in. So with the exception of hydrogen, the nonmetals are on the right-hand side of your periodic table. All right, let's do the last one, which are metalloids. So metalloids are kind of a combination or kind of in the middle of both. So metalloids are semiconductors, meaning they're okay at conducting heat and electricity, but they're not great. A lot of your technology, computer parts or whatever are made out of metalloids, like silicon. You have the outer shell is about half full, which makes sense if it has properties of metals and nonmetals, so it's kind of in the middle. And the examples would be it's shiny like a metal, but it's brittle like a nonmetal. Or you can have a really good conductor and durable like a metal, but it breaks very easily. So, or like boron. So just kind of watch that. So now the metalloids I'm going to show you on the periodic table, and I'm going to make this a little dark here. There's this thing called the zigzag or the staircase, and this is where what you're going to look for when you go to find the metalloids. So it's right between boron and aluminum, and then it goes aluminum to silicon. So if you can see, hopefully see that I've got my lines there, and then silicon to germanium, between germanium and arsenic and antimony, tellurium, and then polonium. So that little zigzag, tells you right, that's what you're going to look for, and that is where your, that's where your metalloids are. All right, so now we're basically going to color in whatever we have not colored in before. So you've got boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, and polonium. Now I kind of think of this like falling down the staircase. You'll hear it said, where you start at boron, you trip to silicon, go down, over, down, over, down. So that's how I kind of remember it, or basically if you know our metals and nonmetals, the metalloids are the ones you didn't color in yet. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a picture of this or of whatever you colored for your assignment, and that's going to be part 1. And then part 2, is you're going to answer the questions on the assignment. Either make a table in your notebook, or you can, if you printed this out, you have the sheet here for you. So you're going to give 3 properties of metals in examples, and then where is it found on left, right, middle. So you'll write that for properties of metals, and you're going to do the same thing for nonmetals. Give me 3 properties, 3 examples, and where are they found. And then for metalloids, you're going to just tell me what is a metalloid and what are 3 examples and where is it found on the periodic table. And so this is part 1 right here. And this is part 2. And then once you get both parts, take pictures of them, put on the assignment, and then submit it, and then you're good. And that's how you do metals, nonmetals, and metalloids.